Listen to them at page 8. It says, whilst the Commission is not opposed to undertaking another fiscal exhibition of the corrected PVR in the 40,000 plus exhibition centers, given the time it takes to print and distribute the PVR, 3 to 4 weeks, it will not be feasible to achieve this due to the limited time to the general election. The Commission intends to implement an online exhibition of the PVR at no cost to registered voters. And this is the more annoying part. Voters will be able to report on anomalies with their details within a time frame to be made available to the public. They are going to make that available to the public later. And how are we going to monitor this online exhibition? The reason why we do an exhibition physically in the manner in which we do it is that it allows for all parties. We are all having copies of the register. We are all present. We can all monitor real time and see what is being done. Who has come with an issue and how it is being corrected. If it is done online, how can we police the process? And you see, elections are about trust. They're about public confidence. We have never done an online registration. What does Jim Mensa, Bosman Asari, and the MPP food soldier Apiahini-led Electoral Commission are asking us to do are things that have never been heard of, never been done in our country. They are playing with fire. They are jeopardizing our peace and stability. And they ought to be told in very, very clear language that this will not be countenanced. This will not be tolerated. Look, if you read their own conclusion of their statement, they say that the Commission takes this opportunity to assure the NDC and the general public that it has largely resolved the discrepancies. Largely. We all understand some basic English. Largely is not we have. Authoritatively, categorically resolved the issues. Largely. And you want us to go into such a crucial election, such a defining election, where the soul of our country is at stake. And you see, it is not in the interest of Jane Mensa. It's not in her interest that we will carry this her load of incompetence, of mismanagement, of ineptitude, after all of these admissions, with officials complicit, some of whom have been sacked. And I don't know why they should only be sacked and not prosecuted. That Pusiga official, why has he only been terminated and asked to go home? Democracy Hub demonstrators are not cooling off at home. A lot of them were innocent bystanders. So why is this Pusiga official, who clearly everything shows that these transfers were illegally done, why is he cooling off at home? No prosecution. Why? Look, Jane Mensa must be very, very careful. And I will urge all fair-minded Ghanaians. Already I have heard the Christian Council, I've heard the Peace Council, I have heard the respected former Supreme Court Judge, Justice Atuguba, call on the Electoral Commission to stop these shenanigans. And I think that we need to hear more voices from moral society. Clearly, for us in the NDC, it is time to activate stage 2. Remember, we announced that after the regional demonstrations, if we do not get a favorable response from the Electoral Commission, we will activate stage 2. I will urge the party's National Executive Committee and the Functional Executive Committee to quickly meet and activate stage 2. We are ready on the ground as parliamentary candidates, ready with our troops and ready to comply with the instructions from the party's leadership. Clearly, this is not an electoral commission which should be allowed to plunge this country into disaster. We were just discussing a while ago the devastating consequences of war. And if you look at our continent, all the disputed elections which have led to full-blown conflict, it has been because of the register. Clearly, there was an attempt to rake the 2024 elections, which has been exposed. They have been caught, pants down, and they are refusing to eat humble pie. We are not going to allow that you are going to put this online. Meanwhile, we know the things you have done at your IT department. We know the people heading that IT department. A department that has been infused with party hacks. We are not going to accept that. How do you expect my constituents in places like Blonu, Niflakpo, Agbetipo, places like Deva, talking about island communities, the furthermost part of the earth, as the Bible will put it, where there is no network, no internet. Come to Deva, come to Nyatipo, come to Ayiwata, Blonu, and the others. Island communities, far to reach communities. And there are many, many communities in Ghana. If you are a rural MP, you know what I'm talking about. Even in parts of urban Ghana, network challenges. The EC itself is saying that we should forgive them for some of their woes because of network challenges. You heard me read that. Now they are saying that they are going to put the register online. I mean, are these people reasoning? What do they take us for? Where is logic? Where is common sense in the work they are doing? What do they take us for? So these communities without internet, without network, how do they check online? How? So all of those people, millions of Ghanaians, should be cut off ab initio. They are cut off from the electoral process. Totally cut off. Because of the ineptitude. You have been so incompetent, so you say now you don't have time. It takes 3 to 4 weeks to print out the register. You don't have time. Look, they better do it. I believe that now in modern printing, if they call parties to the table, and I agree with Nana Kumia, that look, they should stop this posturing and being far afield and issuing statements.
Let's find out.
Convene the platform.
Let's find out.
I am sure that they can be printed.
Let's find out if the Honorable Alanchir Martin is providing the solution.
Yes,
yeah.
I read
Nana alluded to IPAC.
Yes.
But then IPAC will not include the other persons on the ballot who are not political parties.
Yes.
And so we know that about 4 or 5 of the contestants
independent.
They are independent candidates. So this is what he wrote to the Electoral Commission on the 23rd of September. Says, "Dear Electoral Commissioner, I write for and on behalf of Honorable Alanchir Martin, independent presidential candidate, founder and leader of the Movement for Change, an Alliance for Revolutionary Change. The M4C and ARC have noted with deep concern reports of compromised data in respect of the current voters registered that the Electoral Commission is preparing for the 2024 general election. The EC has accepted the authenticity of reports of poor data control and has indicated that they are currently conducting an internal exercise to rectify the anomalies under reference. In spite of the Commission's efforts, the manner and process of remedial action remains in serious public contention. Therefore, given the integrity of the impending elections primarily rests on the functional quality of the voters register, M4C proposes the following measures in support of securing universal acceptability of the voters register. 1. The establishment of a high-level technical working group chaired by the EC with representatives of candidates cleared to contest the general elections and the consultants responsible for the EC data management. 2. The technical working group would agree on the process and the procedures for a full and comprehensive audit of the current voter register based on the following source documents. A. The final 2020 voters register. B. Limited registration information since 2021. C. Voter transfer effected since 2021. And D. Special voters list since 2020 to date. Each member of the technical working group ought to be provided access to original copies of the listed source documents and facilitated to determine the veracity of the entries in the said documents. 4. Representatives of candidates cleared to contest the general elections who have written evidence of any compromised data in respect to the current voter register are required to submit same to all members of the technical working group before the start of the audit process. 5. The final outcome of the collaborative comparative process will be deemed to be the final voters register for the conduct of the 2024 general elections. The proposed process outlined above mirrors a forensic audit being advocated for by a section of the Ghanaian public, and not to come up with a voters register acceptable to all contestants and voters in the upcoming 2024 general elections. The timeline proposed for the exercise is from 30th September 2024 to the 11th of October 2024. This will enable the EC to release the final voters register by the 14th of October 2024. M4C and ARC believe that approaching the resolution of the doubts around the voters register in such a joint manner ensures transparency of intent that will settle any lingering issues around the voters register and position the country for a free, fair, and transparent and credible general elections on December 7th, 2024. We appreciate your response to the above proposal by Friday, 27th of September, 2024. With very best regards, Nana Oheninto, Director, Elections Planning and Coordination, Movement for Change. And distribution list, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, Dr. Daniel Augustus Latte Jr., Madam Ekuya Donko, Mr. Christian Kwabena Andrews, Mr. Kofi Apalu, Alhaji Mohamed Frimpong, Nana Akosua Frimpoma, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, Mr. Hassan Abdullah Yariga, Mr. Kofi Krantin, Mr. George Chumberima, Nana Kwame Bediaku, and Mr. Alan John Kojo Chirematin. So this is the proposal from Movement for Change, represented by Mr. Alan Chirematin.
Very sensible proposal, if you ask me, and it's really
with timelines.
It's and it's really in line with what the NDC has called.
I think he has expanded
the
IPAC thing to include all those, because obviously once the EC has made a determination of who are eligible to contest the election and has gone ahead with the ballot and all that, any exercise that also excludes these persons who have a right in the election is also okay.
And you see, I keep asking, if you have nothing to hide, this opening up, who stands to benefit the most? Isn't it the Electoral Commission? All of this opening up, Alan Chirematin's brilliant proposal. NDC has said, look, if you like, even bring the UNESCO guys, the UNDP guys, pardon me, or any other independent body. We've had a situation in this country where VCRAC crap,
the panel,
chair the panel to do a similar exercise. So, if you have nothing to hide, this in your favor. It's in your best interest. So, you just can't fathom. Why should this be controversial? Why should the EC erect a Chinese wall, a barricade? That was such a commonsensical thing. You just can't. You think about it, and as the young people, the Gen Z says, it busts your mind. It's mind busting. You can't believe what is going on.
All right.